Welcome to the Forge Your Future podcast, brought to you by East Central Educational Service Center, located in Newcastle, Indiana. We proudly provide service support and collaboration to 14 counties and 39 member districts.
At ECESC, we believe that students' strengths and interests are a blueprint to forging a future of success and impact, and we are on a journey to provide support and collaboration to schools as they implement career-connected learning for all students.
As part of this mission, we are here today to celebrate the amazing educators who help the students of East Central Indiana dream big dreams and achieve more than they thought possible.
Their work inspires us each day, and we want to lift up their stories and the stories of the students they are impacting and serving. Welcome, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us on the podcast today. Our goal today and always is to celebrate the amazing educators of East Central Indiana who help our students dream more, believe more, and achieve more than they ever thought possible. Your work inspires us each day, and we want to lift up your stories and the stories of the students you are impacting and serving. My name is Pat Haney. I'm the Executive Director of the East Central Educational Service Center, and I'm joined today by...
Hi, I'm Mandy Isaacs, and I'm an Instructional Specialist at the Service Center, and we're pleased to be here with...
I'm George Philhower. I'm the superintendent at Eastern Hancock.
Dr. Philhower, thank you for joining us on the podcast today. We appreciate you taking the time to share with us a little bit of background before we dive into our interview with Dr. Philhower. We in East Central Indiana at the Service Center, we support 38 member districts, and we are proud to partner with Eastern Hancock as one of our member districts. George, as we get started, if you would please give us a bit of background about Eastern Hancock. Where are you located? Who are your students, and what is your district all about?
Sure. So Eastern Hancock is, we're a small rural district in East Central Indiana. We're a proud member of the East Central Service Center. All of our work at Eastern Hancock is grounded in our strategic plan. And within our strategic plan, we have 4 promises. And I'm expecting that we'll probably have most of our conversations today around those 4 promises. So for us, those are joy. So joy just means, we think every day, what do we do to make these people want to come to this place? Number 2 is connection. It's just that we're very intentional about making sure we're the type of place that people feel like they belong. We want all of our people known by name, strength, interest, need, and future hopes and dreams. Promise number 3 for us is growth. We want our people, our kids, and our grown-ups learning new things as often as possible that they will remember. And number 4 for us is success. And that's just our reminder that education's not the end goal, that we're really in this business of education because we want to produce happy, healthy grown-ups who can go off into life and feel successful and be successful.
Thanks, George. Those are some great goals. So as you think about those qualities in students, can you share an example of maybe a recent student success that highlights your portrait of a graduate?
Sure. So work-based learning is a really important thing at Eastern Hancock. Currently, we have about 25% of our juniors and seniors that are doing some type of work-based learning. So all of those kids are getting paid while they're earning high school credit. Oftentimes, they're earning credentials of value and college credit at the same time. So Hitachi, SDMO, we recently had a young lady who was honored with an award from them. They as an organization got an award through the work that they're doing with one of our workers, one of our students, and a separate student. We were talking to her about her experience, and actually the Department of Education came in last week, and they were shooting a video of some of our work-based learning kids, and she was talking about some of the work that she's doing with them, and she undersold it a little bit because she was talking about what they called soft skills that she was working on. And as she described the work she was doing, she was saying that she was creating a PowerPoint, and then from pulling a little bit from her and asking some follow-up questions, and then talking to her supervisor at Hitachi, it turns out that what she was doing was creating PowerPoint visual aids that were going to be used for all the training materials for all of their future employees. So that's a pretty big deal. for a 17-year-old who hasn't even graduated high school to be doing. Also, this week is Passion Project Week at Eastern Hancock. We take a week where we kind of shut down school, and kids are doing all kinds of stuff. We have members of the community coming in all types of various areas. We've got some kids in our FFA program that are working with Ferguson Construction to build a chicken coop, which will house some chickens and will be managed by our essential skills class. We've got police officers coming in and detectives giving kids lie detector tests and SWAT teams letting them explore their vehicles. But one of the experiences is Diana Ariano, and she manages our work-based learning students. And she had a student who graduated 2 years ago come in and talk about the experience he has in his current work environment. And he turned in writing what he told to the kids, and just was so powerful to read. He talked about being an Eastern Hancock student from kindergarten to grade 12. And by the time he got to high school, he realized that I don't really want to go to college, but college feels like the thing that everybody is pushing me towards. And he ended up being our first student to get a job in a work-based learning experience. And he is now on his way to be a lineman at 9-Star. So just seeing the success of him, it makes you pretty proud as a superintendent, and also kind of gives you the motivation to continue the work that we're doing to get our kids involved while they're in high school doing work that matters.
That's awesome. I love hearing that, George. And it's been great just to kind of even a little bit watch that some of those partnerships with businesses and your industry partners, and watch those evolve and be a very small part of those conversations. Could you talk a little bit about your relationships with partner organizations and industry partners, community foundations, anyone that comes to mind there in Hancock County and your surrounding area?
Sure. And actually, I can't have this conversation without just pointing out that the service centers have been a big part of helping us expand and develop the relationships that we have. We got involved in a couple of grants through the service center. Diana Ariano is our work-based learning coordinator inside our school, and her responsibility is building relationships, ongoing relationships with local employers. And she has a relationship with the chamber and EDC and those types of organizations as well. But really, she really wants to have relationships with our employers so that she's aware of what opportunities they have for our students. And then she also has wonderful relationships with our high school kids, and even starting in middle school, so that she knows what types of employment opportunities they are looking for. We also have a community liaison. Libby Manship is on the outside helping us connect with all of our community partners. She helps us coordinate. We do quarterly meetings with our community that we call cafe meetings. Those stand for community and family engagement. Libby helps us coordinate all of those. We're averaging between 80 and 90 people who attend each one of those. And I really, as I think about what might the future of education look like, I think that it's going to take that type of tag team approach where we're all working together to support our kids and not just support our kids, but support our community. At Eastern Hancock, we talk a lot about the idea that there are two puzzle pieces that we just have to figure out how to put together. One of those puzzle pieces is our employers and the employment needs they have in their communities. And then our side of that puzzle piece is we've got kids graduating every year without a plan. If you look at the national data on kids' success when they go to college, it's not as good as we would like it to be. And we think we can do better. And the way that we can do better is by working with our community partners to, kind of be the bridge between what our students' hopes, dreams, aspirations are and the needs within our community.
I think that's a great analogy on the puzzle pieces as well. And I see our schools playing an important piece of helping even shaping those puzzle pieces to help them fit together. You also mentioned a bridge. It's so important for our schools to really integrate with their communities, and to see how you've done that in Eastern Hancock in different ways is inspirational for a lot of our schools.
Thanks, Mandy. We've got some phenomenal partners in our community, and then the folks I mentioned who are inside our place, Diana and Libby, they're just incredible.
What are you recommending right now, either personally or professionally, that you would like to share with our listeners?
What do I recommend is a hard question to answer. I'm a podcast and audio book kind of guy. I wake up really early. One of the responsibilities of a superintendent, this time of year, we don't know what kind of weather we're going to wake up to. So it could be foggy. It could be, heck, we could have snow or heaven forbid ice on the ground in the morning. So I'm in the habit of waking up at about 4:45 every morning just to make sure that everything's all right. Our friend over at Union City, Aaron Black, they've got a phenomenal podcast that if our listeners have not heard about the things happening in that district, there are a lot of things that he's doing that need to be scaled across the state of Indiana. In terms of audiobooks, Charles Duhigg is one of my favorites, and his most recent book, Super Communicators, is phenomenal. So if nobody's stumbled on that one yet, I would also recommend that one.
It seems like you always mention number one is joy. And I've heard you say also the joy of your students being there, but also your educators and everyone who walks into your building. Can you tell us about what a graduate from Eastern Hancock, what qualities and skills that you expect of those students who graduate from your corporation?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm going to circle back real quick to joy. We just really believe that the gravity of education, and maybe even like bigger than education, isn't really pulling us to a place of joy. So if we're going to get there, it has to be intentional. So that's why it's our first promise that we've got to be really intentional about bringing joy. What our graduates look like, we've got a profile of a graduate at Eastern Hancock, and this is year number 3 for me. And when I interviewed, part of that interview process was a tour. And when I was a big believer in developing a profile of a graduate even before I came to Eastern Hancock. And when I walked around the building as a part of that tour, I saw on every gym the words were written, Eastern Hancock Royal Pride is character, competitive greatness, and leadership that serves. And so, first of all, I thought that's pretty good, character, competitive greatness, and leadership that serves. But also I realized that I was either going to have to align whatever our profile of a graduate was going to be to that, or repaint the gym. And as a new superintendent, I thought it was safer to align the work that the district is going to do around those 3 words. So we've worked really hard to define what those 3 attributes truly mean. So for us, we look at character, and we think that character involves 2 things. We think that character involves responsibility and integrity. We think that competitive greatness also involves 2 things, and those 2 things are curiosity and work ethic. And then leadership that serves is communication, collaboration, and contribution. So we're currently working at ways to credential those attributes within our district, inside the walls, and also externally outside, in the experiences that our kids are having at work or at their sporting events or at youth group or all the other places that they're having. We want to find as many ways as we can to acknowledge those attributes and try to think about how we might measure them, because we really feel like if those are the attributes we want to see in our kids, then we need to be able to recognize them when we see them and begin to start measuring them.
That's great. I agree with you. I think as a new superintendent, don't want to try to repaint the gym.
George, I want to give you a chance to talk, make a recommendation as well for educators that might be close enough to get to Eastern Hancock this July. Could you talk a little bit about Joy Jam and what's going to be happening at Eastern Hancock in mid-July?
Yeah, so we host a conference every year. As I said a little bit ago, we think joy's got to be a priority. It's got to be something that we do on purpose, and we believe that so much that we host a conference every year focused on joy. We try to make it towards the mid to end of the summer so that it kind of helps fill people's cup up as full as possible before they go back to school. This year it's July 15th and 16th. We've got some of the best speakers that you'll ever hear. But Joy Jam's a different kind of conference. We think we've got it priced about right. It's $7,777 per registrant. But the secret is if you enter the code, Bring the Joy, that it's a free conference. We don't think we should really charge for for Joy. But last year, we had a candy room at Joy Jam. We had a snack room at Joy Jam. I think there were some bubbles, some sprinkles, some glitter. We had a puppy room. This year, there's a rumor that you might need to bring your swimsuit to Joy Jam. So if it's fun and it causes joy, we're going to try to figure out how to make it happen on July 15th and 16th. And we are just a little over half capacity right now. And we are excited to have as many people join us as possible.
Awesome. Well, at the top of the episode, George, I shared that our goal in this podcast and in so much of our work at East Central Educational Service Center is to celebrate the amazing educators who help students dream more, believe more, and achieve more than they thought possible. Before we close, I want to give you an opportunity to celebrate some of your educators there at Eastern Hancock. Anything come to mind recently that you just want to lift up and let people know about the work that's happening within the walls of Eastern Hancock?
Pat, I love that mission. It's one of the best things I've heard in a long time. I think we really need to be intentional about lifting up educators. And as I've said a couple of times, that joy is important, that it's our responsibility as educators to find the positive in what we're doing. And I tell you, you can see us from Interstate 70, but it's hard to get to Eastern Hancock. But if you ever find your way out here, I can show you some of the most spectacular educators that you've ever seen. This week in particular, I've got teachers who are math and English teachers that aren't teaching things that they're the experts in. We've got a position at Eastern Hancock that's a little unique. We've got a position called the Joy Integration Specialist. And actually, if you email joy@easternhancock.org, it'll go to our Joy Integration Specialist. And what we found was that it's not hard to convince people that integrating joy is a good idea, but asking teachers who already have full plates to do one more thing is a difficult challenge. So our Joy Integration Specialist does a really good job of helping teachers take their lessons and sprinkle a little bit of awesome on them. So we really believe that emotion cements learning, and that how kids feel while they're learning is just as important as the stuff they're learning. And our teachers do such an incredible job of thinking about that every single day.
George, that reminds me of one of my all-time favorite quotes is learning is amplified in the presence of joy. And so thank you for lifting that up and for walking that walk each and every day for your district, for your educators, and for your students. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Hopefully this is a little bit of a peek inside of the amazing work that we get to see within our member districts, the educators that serve our students, and the amazing things that lie ahead for our students in East Central Indiana. Dr. Philhower, thank you for your time. Thank you for your joining us. Thank you for your leadership. And we want to thank everyone else for joining us as well. All right. So, Lindsay, we just finished listening to the interview with Dr. Philhower from Eastern Hancock Schools. And
so fun. He always brings the joy, doesn't he?
He always does. He always does. Such a great conversation. And George was one of also an early adopter, willing to take the leap and let us work through how we wanted to launch this podcast. And since the recording, we have actually had the opportunity to attend and experience the Joy Jam conference. So wondered if you wanted to take a few moments to share what stood out to you from having attended the second annual Joy Jam.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's a conference like no other, right? It's hard to, I think, explain to someone who wasn't there. So if you weren't there, sign up for next year, because we're talking about balloons everywhere, puppies, everything novel that you can think of. I kept saying it was like they took the teacher that plans the pep rally from each school and put them in a room and just said, go, give us all the ideas, because it was all the ideas. They had a candy room. And I think just the whole idea of giving teachers and other educators the opportunity to laugh and enjoy being together, to kind of reset and refresh for a new school year is just amazing. I at one point in the auditorium, I was looking around and you've got a superintendent over here with a balloon hat on, and you've got two other school leaders from different districts over here with their arms around each other singing "Lean on Me." Like that doesn't happen all throughout the year. And so to have that moment and to see all the teachers with their faces just light up with all of the like surprises that kept coming throughout the 2 days, just so fun. And really, I think Eastern Hancock and their partners, putting their money where their mouth is, talking about joy and wanting to elevate that. And they really did.
Yeah. And, hearing George talk about the 4 promises at Eastern Hancock, joy and connection. It's not just part of their branding. It's really part of who they are. And attending Joy Jam, it was amazing to me also to see, honestly, through the presenters, we had presenters from all over the country. All of them were tremendous. But the overriding theme, like you said, was just about giving yourself permission to be in the moment and to experience joy in the moment, and to share that with others and creating that experience for students. I know before we recorded this part, you had mentioned that a lot of teachers may have had really hard years last year, or maybe are at a point where they're thinking they're thinking about their ability to persevere in the classroom. And I just think the opportunity for educators to come together and to elevate and to prioritize joy in the presentations, in the puppies and the therapy dogs and the miniature horses and the balloon animals, but also through really meaningful content, I thought was just it was amazing and unforgettable.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the time, I think educators have the opportunity to go to professional development where they're speaking to your head. There's a lot of important things going on right now in terms of science of reading and of high school redesign. There's a lot of things that, I think everyone's becoming more educated on and learning how to make improvements for students, but it's a lot about, mindset and speaking to your head. But I think the presenters and the messages at Joy Jam were more about speaking to your heart, and that gave people, like you said, just a little boost to go into their next school year with, so much they have to balance, just, having some free drinks and puppy kisses. Like, what could be better?
Yeah, absolutely. So just echo what you said. If you didn't make it to the first annual or the second annual Joy Jam, it's coming back next year. Get ready for the third annual Joy Jam. And thank you for joining us for this conversation today. And if you don't take anything away from it, just remember, don't delay joy, but take the opportunity and elevate it and, lean into it now. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Forge Your Future podcast. We hope that this glimpse into the bright future of East Central Indiana inspires you and brings you hope.
We have the privilege to work with these future makers every day and want to share their stories throughout Indiana and beyond.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, please share it with your circle and let's keep the conversation going.
You can connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on our website.
Until next time, remember that your strengths and interests are a blueprint to your future of success and impact.